Hurricane Sandy has undoubtedly become part of the presidential election, and with it, unfortunately, has come brazen partisan politicization.
Typically, people don't blame the candidate for any candidate for the storm itself, though one of these candidates did promise to lower the level of the ocean, and obviously that didn't work.
Why they think that we conservatives would attack the president for being president of the United States at this terrible, tragic time, it just shows what the left is and where they're coming from in this time. They make politics out of everything. I wonder if they even pray.
Donald Trump joined the action yesterday using the hurricane to attack President Obama in a series of tweets. Hurricane is good luck for Obama again. He will buy the election by handing out billions of dollars. Not only giving out money, but Obama will be seen today standing in water and rain like he's a real president. Don't fall for it. Wow. Here with me now to discuss the political optics of the storm is Tina Dupuy, syndicated columnist and editor-in-chief of thecontributor.com, and Boris Epshteyn, contributor to the Daily Caller and former communications aide to the McCain-Palin campaign. Thank you both for joining me. What do you make of this stuff? It's almost as though people have lost their minds and their desperation to throw barbs at either candidate. Tina, is this just kind of nutty?
Well, it's nutty, but just to be clear, this should be politicized. This is a political issue. Government functionality and infrastructure is a political issue. I mean, that's what we really have been fighting about this entire time, is how we want the government to be in our lives or not be in our lives, and what that struggle is. So this is politics. But I mean, that kind of stuff, I mean,
Tina, I just got to say, I could not agree with you more. That, yes, you don't politicize the effort to save seniors and kids, but the fundamental underlying debate, and I spoke about this earlier in the show, who built it? Who rebuilt it, as I rephrased it tonight, is what this debate is all about. Boris, I mean, to put the fun and silliness of some of these tweets aside from...
It's going to be fun and silly.
Yeah, well, we're going to get there. But I mean, do you agree with what Tina's saying? There is an underlying philosophical debate going on here that is made manifest and made more fundamental by this hurricane.
The hurricane is definitely an important thing 7 days before the election. We definitely have to evaluate how it impacts the election, how people view what government should do. I, as a Republican, I'm not going to sit here and say FEMA should not be involved. Of course it should be. Just like Governor Chris Christie went out there and said now he's being attacked from the right, I think unjustly for it. There's no problem with FEMA being involved. There's no issue with a federal government stepping in and helping. But there is a point where federal government oversteps. Over-regulation, stifling the economy, and that's the discussion that's going on. And to talk about it during their hurricane relief efforts is the wrong time to do it. But again, from the right, it's wrong to attack President Obama right now.
But Tina's right. This does frame the debate. Let's come back to these tweets, though. Tucker Carlson, a serious guy, right? Used to be viewed as a serious, political commentator. Then you have Donald Trump. Am I right? Those Donald Trump tweets seem just a little bit jarring. Boris, I mean, look, you want to defend him. He's your camp right now. Explain this to us, that he's not a real president. I mean,
Donald Trump is an entertainer. He is someone who has been very good, we talked about this beforehand, at branding himself, making a lot of money off it. I'm not going to sit here and defend Donald Trump. He can say what he wants. He's got the money to back himself up. He can go out there and have fun, and it's a free country. We have free speech. But should anybody vote based on those tweets? They should not. They should vote based on the last 4 years of inability by Barack Obama to be the president this country wanted, and by ability of Mitt Romney to do that.
All right, Tina, let's stick with Donald Trump for a minute. Has he not made himself part of the fabric of the Republican Party, though? He continues to show up. Mitt Romney gives him a lot of attention. He has his big press announcement, $5 million for the president's college.
That was not backed by the Republicans.
That was just Donald. Okay.
But he also said it was going to be the October surprise, and it ended up just being the October jumping the shark.
So doesn't he hurt the Republican Party?
I think that he hurts himself. I think that he kind of lives and dies by his own rhetoric, and I think that this thing bombed when he came out with his $5 million bet, and it keeps on bombing every time he takes to the Twitter.
Yeah,
and I'll agree with that. He does hurt himself, but in the end, for him, it's the bottom line. I am convinced he's not out there to gain votes from Mitt Romney. He is out there to promote his own brand. And right now, we're sitting here talking about him, and he likes it.
That could be. So, you know what? We're going to stop. Okay. We're not going to play into that game. Let's talk about Mitt Romney for a minute. This has been a tough 48 hours for him. He sees the president looking presidential. Chris Christie, his surrogate, coming in and praising President Obama to the sky. Mitt Romney can do little more than collect a few cans of food to give to a shelter. Good stuff, to be applauded for it, but it's not the momentum he wanted at the end. How does he respond to this?
He doesn't need to respond to it because you're seeing what's happening in the polls. The polls in Ohio, the polls in Florida, North Carolina, Virginia are moving in the Republicans' favor. And we, again, talked about this beforehand. Generally, in past elections, the late breakers go to the challenger. And in this election, you're seeing people who are they're disenchanted with the president. They're not convinced by him for the last 4 years. They're not going to be convinced in 1 week. And they're not going to be convinced by him doing his job, which is responding to this huge problem. And you know what? Chris Christie has done the right thing. I said this and I'll say it again. Chris Christie should not have attacked the president. Him praising the president and working together with the president is the kind of bipartisanship we want.
Tina, is Boris right? The trend is your friend is the old worst cliche in politics, but it's true. Late breakers usually go against the incumbent, and a president who's had 4 years to persuade people isn't likely by showing up in New Jersey to persuade them. Why is Boris's logic wrong?
I think the important thing here to note is that laissez-faire government died in New York City. It was killed by a blizzard in 1888. Then you have Teddy Roosevelt.
I got to interrupt. 1888. No, you know your history. Which blizzard was that? I don't know this one.
The blizzard of 1888 was the first time Wall Street shut down, and that was the catalyst for building the subway system. You have Teddy Roosevelt, who famously in 1896 came and gave the citizens of New York ice during a heat wave. I mean, we like our infrastructure here. We like our government to do what we pay a lot of money for it.
That's what he was in
we pay a lot of money for our government to actually function and to do things, and we show in New York how to do government right. And I think that is what
but
they're
that doesn't answer my question about Mitt Romney is going to win the election.
But hold on a second.
What's that, Boris? Hold on.
But I'm answering the question. And so when we look to government functioning on a level that seems to be something that we agree with, we want our candidate to not have 3 answers for every single question.
Tina, I got to give you the award for the best historical answer I've heard in a long time. 1888 snowstorm. I thought I knew a lot about the state and the city.
Right, I thought you were going to have my back here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm completely.
It's good on history. 1888 is great, but we're going to have 2012.
But laissez-faire died in New York City, and
Boris,
it's going to die again in New York City.
Last word to you. What Tina's saying is very deep. I mean, this isn't politicizing a storm. It is using it as something that's emblematic of what we expect and want of our government. I would add in John Lindsay, who didn't plow the streets, got voted out. And others. This is the public saying we understand what government should do. And Mitt Romney has not spoken to that need in some way. How does he answer that in the last few days?
That's not what the election's turning on. The election's turning on the economy. The polls have shown that that's what people care about the most. And this president has not made his case to the American people that he's the one to turn around the economy. Mitt Romney has. That's why he's leading, and he will win.
Okay, the one thing this election that could still come out that this election will turn on the job numbers on Friday. Tina, if the unemployment rate jumps above 8, does the president not have a problem?
I think the president doesn't have a problem. I think he's going to win this election. It's not going to be a landslide. It's going to be close. He's going to win.
All right, I disagree. And Boris, I'm shocked you disagree, but
I know.
Very quickly.
He hasn't been clear on that.
If the unemployment rate jumps up, is that what Mitt Romney needs? And so will Democrats be crying that somehow BLS is rigged the other way?
No, can't be crying about BLS at this point in time. Whether it's at 7.8, 7.7, or 8, the American public has already convinced that President Obama has not done the job he needs to do, and that Mitt Romney is the one to step in. So Mitt Romney should not care too much about those numbers. They'll be right in the vicinity where they are, and the election is probably decided right now for Mitt Romney.
All right, look, I'm more with Tina on this. I think the job numbers do matter, but I do think that the president has made his case over the past 4 years. Tina Dupuy, syndicated columnist and editor-in-chief of thecontributor.com. Boris Epshteyn, contributor to the Daily Caller and former communications aide to the McCain-Palin campaign. Thank you both for your time. That's Viewpoint for tonight. Stay warm, dry, and safe. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us.